It is the most beautiful time of year. Temperatures dropping, pumpkin aroma fills the air, and football is back, which leaves us with one thing to discuss. Who are we betting on? Well, we've got the experts here to tell you, so don't go anywhere. Chalk and Chat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Westgate Las Vegas.
Welcome into Chalk and Chat. I'm Mariah Janos, and I'm sure you're wondering who I've got with me. Just a couple of old guys, but let me introduce them to you because you're going to get a lot of betting advice from them. First up, he's a 6'1". I don't know if that's actually his height. Pro bettor, originally from New York, I think, but he's been in Vegas full-time since 1998. His hair is gray, but his picks are red hot. It's Teddy Covers.
Woo!
Thank you.
Covers.
And next to him, he's an Oklahoma Oompa Loompa who used to be fat, but modern medicine has him cashing in on modeling jobs to go with his winning wagers. It's the Fat Jack and his chest.
Come on, ladies.
Yep,
Here we go.
yep.
It's football season.
These are the guys that you want to listen to at all times and get betting advice from. I know, they just scream winners.
We're a
That's what they
household
are.
name. Just newness. They don't know who we are. Just because we're older doesn't mean they don't know who we are.
No, that's true.
This is the time of year. We're like a shoehorn when you can't get your shoes on right.
Okay.
We're necessary certain times of the year, and this is it.
Do you think Living Legends is a proper name?
You have to have that hair to be a living, and the jacket.
That jacket. Honestly, I'm just noticing this jacket, Teddy.
If he
Yeah, it
swims
was
the 100,
time.
It was time. He's
Look.
leveling up this season.
he swims the 100, no resistance.
So I've lived in Vegas now since 1998.
Yes.
And if you're gonna live in Vegas, lean into Vegas. Get some loud
Absolutely.
jackets. So I mean, you know, it was time to upgrade. to
He's
that.
flashy. You know he's got winning picks this season with that jacket alone. All right, coming up on today's show, we're getting you set for the pro football season with some approaches to the first few weeks. Plus, these two are going to duke it out. It's the prop battle heard around the world. And of course, we've got to get their way too early predictions for who is winning the whole thing this season. But let's start with the season. It's a week away at this point.
Everybody's a winner right now, right?
Everyone's a winner right now. No one is
Well,
upset just
depending
yet.
how much preseason you bet.
That's true.
Right.
Those who did not go to Gamblers Anonymous and decided to bet the
Yes.
preseason instead.
I love preseason.
So
Well, I do too, actually.
So you are those addicts. That's okay. With the season a week away, we don't like to put too much stock into preseason. I know that there's been a lot of roster changes this offseason, a lot of moves, a lot of storylines to follow, but what is the strategy for early season betting, especially in that month of September?
So for me, the simplest September strategy, let's call it, and it couldn't be any simpler than this: bet on good teams, bet against bad teams. The markets don't necessarily reflect how bad the bad teams are early on. There's optimism for everyone at the beginning of the season. And yet the bad teams are still going to be pretty rough. And we'll talk about some of them later in the show. And same story with the good teams. The elite teams, there's no look aheads early in the season, you know? So you expect, in my opinion, the best way to approach early season football is you just bet on good and bet against bad.
So if a team gets a facelift in the off season, should you be jumping on them right away, Jack? Do you think you hold off, see what they can do?
No, I there's no holding off, and we're going to hit the ground running. But
Okay.
that breaks it around a real simple formula. What I do is, first of all, throw away what you saw in the preseason, because what you say there is not what you're going to get in week one. I always remember there's a lot of parity in the league, so you've got to be careful. Teddy's saying bet the good, don't bet the bad. I always say you're never as bad as you were the year before, never as good as you were the year before. So there's still going to be a little value with some of those underdogs. And after 2 or 3 weeks, as Teddy mentioned, that it flips, and that becomes the hit you in the face moment when you've got teams that you know are not very good, but they're covering numbers because of all that parity. So don't ever forget. And if you won a lot last year, I don't want to be a wet blanket, but be careful, because last year was one of the best, if not the best, for the general public player last year we've had in 20 or 30 years. So it doesn't mean that if you didn't win, you are if you won, that you're not going to win again, but just be careful, because what happened last year was an anomaly.
Okay.
Sure. Last year's already a long, long time ago. And Jack made a really key point there. Once
why
the
I
That's
Mar-
market,
so rare.
what happens? Once a show, we got to give him credit
Yeah.
for that. Yeah. But once the markets adjust or over adjust, the value swings the other way. Look at New Orleans last year as a class example. They were a bad football team that won the first 2 weeks, blowouts the first 2 weeks. You bet against New Orleans the rest of the way, you made good money. And that will happen again in 2025. So the markets can adjust/over-adjust. There's money to be made betting the other way, but that's starting week 3, week 4, not necessarily week 1 or week.
All right, so don't expect too many overreactions in that second, third week.
Well, I mean, sports teams are like stocks. We want to be buying low and selling high. It really is that simple. I mean, conceptually, it's not about how good a team is. It's how good they are in relationship to their market value, Jack.
I mean, I'm gonna look at overreaction from week 1 to 2.
You always overreact.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna overreact myself from week 1 to week 2. I think that as the public goes here, there's going to be value this way. So you got to work on your feet. Pro football is no joke, very difficult. You've got to be kind of working with the ebb and the flow of the numbers.
Just like dancing. All right. We are just getting started here on Chalk and Chat. Coming up, Jack and Teddy have selected the teams to bet on this season and the ones to run away from, similar to the way that Jack's wife runs away from him every time he decides to break out that banana hammock. Yeah, not great. All right, we're getting into all of it next. Stick around.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Westgate Las Vegas.
All right, we are here at the Superbook at the Westgate, and it is time for people to sign up for the Super Contest. That pot can get up to $800,000. So we're going to ask some of these Joe Schmoes in here what they would do with their earnings if they won the whole dang thing. If you were to win the Super Contest, what are you putting all that money on?
I'm going to give it all to my wife, and she's going to spend it however she sees fit.
Wow, we got to find your wife. She's a lucky woman. I like the way he thinks.
She would probably beg to differ that she's lucky, but whatever.
Buy a house here.
Buy a house here. Where are you from originally?
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, this is better than Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah?
I would definitely be buying a house. A house. I got a condo right here at Las Vegas Country Club, but definitely further away from the Strip, maybe Henderson, get a house with those winnings.
Yeah. All right, upgrading.
More investments in the stock market. Bigger piece of property with nobody around me. And might dabble back into a sports car again. I was a Porsche guy back in the day.
I'm saving up for a Porsche too. Thank you. We got a running theme here. We got investments and we got getting property away from everyone else in the world. And I like that. I like that logic. Thank you.
Do some investing, maybe buy a house, just try to let my money work for me and probably enter next year's contest.
Buffet at the strip club. You going there?
Never been there.
Okay, that's bad.
I didn't know strip clubs had buffets, but I might go now. Okay, you're a forward thinker, so he's smart. He's investing, he's thinking ahead, and he's going to be a returning customer. We like that.
Steering clear of the strip club. I love it.
Steering clear of the strip club. He's responsible, too. Responsible gaming.
Perfect.
When you win the Super Contest,
So many things.
what are you spending money on?
I'm going to take half of it, and I'm just going to come here and make it rain. All right, I'm going to literally just get 5s or 10 and just start throwing them up in the air like I'm a unicorn running through the sports book here at the Westgate. So fire up for that. The other half, immediately going to go buy a moped, and I'm going to drive the moped into Lake Mead at a high, think Evel Knievel with a smaller ramp, fast as I can. So those two things coming your way after I win the Super Contest.
We don't have to check.
All right, so the moped into Lake Mead. We have a lot to look forward to when you win this contest.
Yeah, the answers were very normal, right?
Yeah,
I don't know why
unfortunate.
we're not buying a racehorse or something. I mean, one of those 4-wheel motorcycles that goes really, really fast and bang it down the strip. I mean,
Yeah.
let's have some fun. If we win this contest, it's like hitting the lottery.
Society has simply become too practical.
Right.
And it's like, no, what are we doing here? Let's get weird. I was telling people, buy a pig. Like, that's not even that crazy.
Buy a pig.
Buy a pig. I said
Hang
I
out
wanted to
with it.
buy a boat so I could race Jack to the Bahamas on his boat, but he didn't press the record button. He hit the stop button, so we could not keep it.
I'm not professionally trained in camera work.
What are you spending it on, if you will?
I'm boring.
He's an investor as well.
My kid's going to be in college. He
Gotcha.
just started high school, so we got college to save up. Bankroll, you increase your bankroll. I'm sure I'd have one fun night doing something silly.
One fun night
I'm
with
gonna
Fat Jack.
I'm gonna get a tattoo on my
Helicopter
lower
ride.
back that says Westgate winner.
I like it.
Every
I
time
like
I get out of the shower, my
the
wife
lower
can see it.
back stamps. Well, you know what? It can start with it can start with some projected win totals that we are going to discuss for this season. As I mentioned earlier, this offseason has seen all sorts of shakeups, roster moves, new head coaches, and we can only learn so much from preseason. You guys said scrap preseason. I concur. So it's hard to say for certain if those changes will have positive outcomes on the field. But Teddy, you're looking at one of those teams that got a serious facelift this offseason. Who are you eyeing to bet on from a win total standpoint?
Well, let's talk about the team that's right here in Las Vegas. And certainly when you're talking about a situation where you bring in a Pete Carroll, you bring in a Geno Smith, what's the two most important positions in any football team? Coach and quarterback. And upgrade. So this isn't a team here in Vegas that's going to go to the big game, all right? I don't necessarily expect them to be playing in January. But you can still find them over 6.5 wins with juice or 7.5 wins at a plus price. And I think they're a 500 level team, if not better. Count me over the total on Las Vegas.
You got a little man crush on Pete Carroll, don't you?
A little.
Who doesn't?
How can you not? He's won everywhere he's been.
Hard not to like him.
Yeah.
His culture and what Las Vegas was before that really lost. I mean, after what happened with everything going on with Gruden and stuff, they were kind of lost. And so you get now some direction, and he's a player's coach also and been around a long time. Doing a lot better at 73 than a lot of people are. My mom's 75. I would not want her in charge of my fantasy leagues.
Right. No. Yeah. The man's out there in practice. He's got the gloves on. He's going hard with the boys. We'd love to see it from Pete Carroll. Now, you're kind of rolling over a team from last season that surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe a man crush myself. A little bit of a homer pick for you with Las Vegas. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay for a couple different reasons. This is the first time that Mayfield in his pro career, obviously, Cleveland is where players go to die. I mean, they literally
shout it from the rooftops.
You're not going to win a lot in Cleveland. But once you get out of there, we've seen this. The wings sprout. They're flying around the stadium. They're enjoying life. And we're seeing that out of Baker Mayfield. A little bit when he came to Oklahoma after Texas Tech. Similar deal. He is a confidence guy. Same coach, same program, same offense. That's going to help him. Healthy receivers also going to help him. Bad division. When Teddy's talked about New Orleans, this is not a division that's tough. And when you're talking about some of these long shot bets where you're going to keep your money tied up all year long, I don't want him to necessarily have to get across the finish line. I just need him to go over their win total and or be relevant in the playoffs at 20-1 or better. That's what you're getting with Tampa Bay. So I think they did a lot of improvements on defense, but just the health and the consistency, continuity that Baker Mayfield brings to that offense. So I like
continuity, big word. I know you were practicing that before you
got that from James. Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to get it out.
No, I know. Shout out to our producer James for really upping the vocab here. Okay, now on the flip side, there are teams to stay away from and bet against. Teddy, talk to me.
Sure. Let's talk about Sean McVay from LA and a 37-year-old quarterback with a bad back.
Oof.
Gee, what could go wrong with Matthew Stafford and company? And from all reports I've been reading, this is going to be an ongoing pain management situation for an aging QB. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this season Stafford has to sit. And their schedule is tough. You know, they got Houston, Philly, Baltimore, Detroit, NFC West foes. Yeah, I'm looking at LA under 9.5 wins. I'm not convinced they're going to be in the postseason this year.
Well, Jack and Matt Stafford have something in common. They have bad backs.
A bad back, bad fronts,
right.
Bad all of it. Yeah. I actually like Los Angeles. I think that obviously there's big ifs when you talk about these longer shots, if the quarterback stays healthy. But this is a team, don't forget, a couple of fumbles when they got knocked out of the playoffs away from possibly moving on. So they had it right there. And I think losing Cooper Kupp's not that big a deal. But obviously with the back, that becomes a problem. You got a few of them like that. Obviously Aaron Rodgers up at Pittsburgh, similar situation. He's out of the lineup. They're a different team.
Yeah, when you're closer to Jack's age than the rookies, like there's going to be maybe some health issues coming into play. But who are you betting against?
Yeah, I wake up limping about 3 days a week just from sleep. So, yeah, I understand being over the hill a little bit. And I'll tell you, another team that I don't think did enough that I'm going to play under is Detroit. Detroit's a team that had a pretty easy schedule, top 4 or 5 in the league last year, made the most of that, 15 wins. Playing well, didn't make a lot of wholesale changes. I think it's a similar team. You've got another year for defenses to get ready for what Jared Goff is going to bring, and you get a top 3 most difficult schedule in the league. That variance you have in pro football where you're really never as good or never as bad. Some of those teams that played really well will drop back. Some of them that were bad will come up. I think Detroit's a candidate for that. I also don't like the gambler mentality of don't want to sound hypocritical, but the gambler mentality that their coach brings, I think that will cost them games, certainly in the playoffs and even before.
Yeah, 2 new coordinators in Detroit as well, and both guys that left are now head coaches. So proven commodities for unproven commodities for the Detroit squad.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. Still to come on Chalk and Chat. Grab your popcorn. It's a battle of the heavyweights as Teddy and Jack duke it out over player props when we come back.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Westgate Las Vegas.
Oh man, we are off to a hot start. It's time for the prop battle this week. We are talking season-long quarterback props. First up, Jalen Hurts over under 12.5 rushing touchdowns. Teddy, let's start with you.
Let's go Jalen Hurts over 12.5 rushing TDs, full season numbers. And of course, let's see, the last 3 years he's had 14, 15, and 13 rushing touchdowns. And the tush push is still legal. Teams still can't stop it. And no surprise here if Philly leans into it. Hurts over rushing touchdowns full season.
So we're assuming that the rest of the league is never going to figure out a way to stop the tush push, I guess.
I mean, they failed miserably last
Well,
week.
and
Buffalo tried to apply it. They couldn't do it.
They've had 6 more months and YouTube videos to figure it out. I'm sure somebody out there is going to work it out. And when they do, this number will plummet. Most of his touchdowns are coming on that play, which narrowly passed. I suspect the rest of the league will do a better job stopping that play. And even if they don't, when you start about going over in some of these prop battles, you don't take injuries into account. All right, he gets hurt and out for 2 or 3 games. He ends with 8 or 9 touchdowns. So I'm going to go under that.
Okay, next up, we've got a questionable quarterback in Minnesota that we just really have no idea anything about him. J.J. McCarthy over under 3,650.5 passing yards on the season. There's been mixed reports about how they're feeling about his quarterback play. Teddy, what say you?
So we like J.J. McCarthy. We do not like J.J. McCarthy to go over 3,650.5 passing yards. That's too high full season. Look, neither Caleb Williams nor Jaden Daniels reached this number last year, and obviously those 2 quarterbacks were pretty elite. And what's Minnesota's goal? They want to run, they want to run, they want to run some more. They want to win games 17-14, not 31-28. I'll take McCarthy passing yards under the total.
They have receivers, and they're going to be behind some.
That's an argument.
They've got a couple receivers, and they're also a team that I'm betting on the head coach. I mean, I think that they are going to want to throw it down the field some, and even if they don't want to, if they can't run it effectively or they're behind in games, you're going to get more yardage. So I don't love going over in these, as I said, because you have that injury and or replacement for whatever. He throws 4 interceptions in the first game. Now we've got problems. But as long as he stays in for the entire season, I think there'll be enough catch-up spots to get him over that number.
You believe in the quarterback whisperer that is Kevin O'Connell. Okay, finally, Dak Prescott over under 3,900 passing yards, Teddy.
Well,
you'd be going over because I'm going to go under on this one. I think Dak Prescott is overrated, a little bit of a fraud, a little bit weak sauce. When we talk about injuries, he's got calf problems, he's got back, he's got all sorts of these problems where basically I want the weekend off or some practices off. I move to those type injuries. When you talk about the coaching staff here, they get a new offensive coordinator that was a line coach in Arizona who's going to instill, we've got to be more physical, we've got to run the ball first. Schottenheimer's balancing of head coaching versus play calling. I think this team goes away from Lamb a little bit more as far as their main receiver and tries to run the ball more effectively. That's going to keep his numbers down. And again, I've got a little bit of a glass figure that he can get hurt literally at any point and be out for 5 or 6 games. So let's go under his passing yards.
All right, Teddy?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Jack.
Okay.
Let's start with it. So Minnesota, who we bet their quarterback under, has an elite defense. So they're not going to be playing in shootouts. Dallas's defense is rough, at least on paper. And it looks like Dallas is going to be playing a lot of 31-28 games. And, yeah, maybe they don't have as much CD this year. Great, they'll throw it to Pickens instead. Dak's going to be chucking the football around, and Dak's going to be trying to play from behind. And those two factors together have me looking over on
Pickens
Dak's
at times
passing.
look like he does not have hands. Literally catching with his elbows.
All right, so it's as if Jack were playing out there. All right, are you still with us? If not, I totally understand. But if you are, that's awesome because the most important part of the show is next. We're getting Jack and Teddy's 2 early big game predictions. Best bets are on the other side of the break.
You're watching Chalk and Chat, sponsored by Westgate Las Vegas.
I don't know whose voice that is, Teddy. We are about 5.5 months out from the big game in Santa Clara, so it feels like the perfect time for premature predictions. Teddy, who is winning it all this season without even seeing anyone play?
So I love premature prediction.
Yeah.
But let's start with giving my final four. Final four, let's go Denver versus Buffalo in the AFC.
Okay.
Lots of upside for this Denver team. They're my little sleeper.
Yep.
And Philly versus Green Bay in the NFC. So that's my final four. And I think Green Bay is going to be pretty good as well. Jordan Love maybe a sleeper for MVP. To win it all, Buffalo.
All right.
I'll put it this way. They're talented, and they're sure due. I think they're ready.
And they got Haley Steinfeld on their side now.
Buffalo, one of the only team actually that has a winning record in the playoffs over the last 5 years, but has not made a big game appearance.
Yeah.
So they are certainly
They're
that due.
Yeah.
I'd like to go a little longer.
Of course.
Speaking of premature predictions, I like to go a little bit longer
Okay.
and pick
Goodness.
something at 40 to 1 or better, because I think there's some value there. And at the end of the year, you either want to be a legend or you want to be that was a good try. Pittsburgh. All right, Pittsburgh. If you don't like Mike Tomlin, you're a Pittsburgh fan, it's literally like being married to an 8, and every time a 10 walks by, you're like, oh, we chose with a 10. Listen, you could be with a 2. All right, I've seen them. And as a girl, you could be with a guy that's a 2 also.
True.
You want to have Mike Tomlin. He overperforms every year versus the number and straight up. Also, they are a team that picked up some key people. Metcalf for sure, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay. This is a team that reloaded. They've got a good coaching staff. And as long as Rodgers stays healthy, Pittsburgh at 40 to 1.
That is such a wild pick, but, it will make it that much more interesting if you are, in fact, right.
If it hits, you won't be able to get my head through the door here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to tape the show outside or something. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first ever Chalk and Chat episode. Hopefully we'll be back next week, but I don't know. Jack could get us canceled at any minute. From Teddy Covers, Fat Jack, I'm Mariah Janos. Thanks so much for hanging out. We will see you next week.